This Tip Tuesday, we're going to be breaking down the 3 essential pieces to effective boundary setting. All right, so boundary setting is the setting of limits. Limitations on behavior for the most part. So this is about our own behaviors, the behaviors of our family, our friends, our coworkers, and the behaviors that we can manage, whether it be at home, at work, in a play environment like a martial arts school. You have somewhat less control in public spaces, and so that's why the effective setting of boundaries is going to be so important. All right, so let's talk about step 1, setting your boundaries. So obviously, when it comes to boundary setting, this is about knowing where your own limitations are for your own effectiveness. When we do this, we have to do this in advance. You can't wait till that moment comes and then decide, well, this is my boundary. Well, no, now this is my boundary. Well, no, now this is my boundary. That's not effective boundary setting. So we're gonna do a little homework right now. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to pause the video and either write down or lock into your mind an effective boundary that you would like to set. I have an example of my own coming up in a moment after you pause it, after you write yours down, and we can talk about it at that moment in time. So go ahead and pause the video and write it down. Okay, did you pause it? Did you write it down? Cool. So my boundary that I'm going to use it as an example, of course I have lots of them in my life, but for me, we're going to talk about a calendar boundary, my Sunday nights. Monday morning, 5 a.m., I get up out of bed, 6 a.m. I'm here at the academy teaching kickboxing class, and my Mondays are long, hectic, crazy, fun days, but at the soonest, my classes end at 9 o'clock at night on a Monday night. That's a long day. As such, I am very guarded about my Sunday nights. People ask me, well, do you want to go to dinner on Sunday night at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock? And the answer is, obviously there are emergency situations, but my answer largely is no. No, I have to go to bed at a reasonable time on Sunday because my weeks are long, they're very full, they're very busy, and I need to make sure that I am productive and effective and starting the week off right. So I very closely guard that Sunday night. It's blocked off in the calendar, and I don't let other things intercede on that time period. So, is this something that you can utilize? Of course. It doesn't have to be a calendar. It might be a physical boundary. It might be a relationship boundary, something that you want to enforce as we go forward. The idea is this homework is vitally important. If you haven't figured out in advance where your boundary is going to be, then you're nowhere for the rest of this in terms of making them and setting them and enforcing them. So let's talk about the next step. All right, so step 2 in our effective boundary setting is we have to be willing to state our boundaries out loud. It's awesome to do the work in advance and figure out what your boundary is going to be, but if you're not willing to actually state them out loud when your boundary gets challenged, other people don't know what your boundaries are. They don't know that you have a Sunday night commitment to going to bed early, to preparing your food for the week. They have no idea unless you state it out loud. Great news. The more you do this, the more people become comfortable. And what I have found over the time is the more people look to the other avenues to, in my case, spending time. They know Friday nights and Saturday nights, I'm totally up for doing whatever. Sunday night's my boundary. I've stated it over and over again. It's going to be one of my own personal limitations, okay? So the more you're willing to do this, the more effective all of this becomes. Moving on to part 3. Enforcing your boundaries. Sunday night, 7 o'clock, phone rings. Hey, Paul, come on, we're going out to this new steak dinner. It's gonna be great, it's gonna be awesome, blah, 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 blah. No, guys, I have to go to bed early because I'd love to. Let's do it next Saturday. No, come on, listen, it's a lot of fun. It'll be great, it's a great steakhouse. Okay, guys, listen, no, I'm afraid I can't, but I promise you, next weekend you guys want to go out, if you guys let me know what the review is, I'll buy dinner next time. That's going to be me enforcing that boundary. And this is important. This is, I don't want to say any one of these is more important than the others. If you don't put the homework in, deciding what your boundaries are, if you don't force yourself to be willing to state them out loud, then you're never going to get to this point. So I can't say one is more important than the other. But I will say this maybe presents the biggest challenge for a lot of people because this is where you can get pushback. Not because people are malicious, because, friends are enablers too. But the biggest thing becomes when it regards to like friends and family, et cetera, well, enforcing your boundaries might cause hurt feelings. And we don't want to do that, right? But the whole point of boundary setting is finding out our own personal limitations and our own personal limit on boxes and where we're willing to put our lives, right? So when it comes to enforcing, my suggestion is start simple. No is a complete sentence. Hashtag Rory Miller. So no is a complete sentence. What that means is when somebody asks and somebody pushes and you say no in a very clear, simple, emphatic, respectful tone, that should be enough, right? So that's the first step to enforcing. This video is meant to be the 3 quick essential steps for boundary setting. Obviously, we could extrapolate this one for an entire series. We can extrapolate this one for an entire series. And this one has months and months and months of work that can be built into and work behind it. So do you guys want that? Do you want more videos on this stuff? Is this useful for you guys? Well, then let us know, right? Throw us in the comment down below. I've been getting some private messages about, asking about the everyday carry stuff. That's great, we appreciate that. So if you want to hear more, we need your feedback, okay? So did you like this video today, guys? Obviously, these are the 3 essential. What that means is, if you wanted me to write a list of all the pieces of boundary setting, it could be 20, 30, 40 steps long, depending on how much you wanted to break out any one of these individual pieces. Do you want that? We can do more of this, of course, if you want. We need your feedback. Do you want more step on setting boundaries, stating boundaries, how to make that effective, strategies, enforcing boundaries? Love to do that for you guys, but we need your feedback. The idea behind this video was the 3 most essential. These are basically the cornerstones on making, creating, and effectively enforcing any boundary in my own individual life. So if you like this video, do us a favor, click like down below. Again, the social media gods really like that. We appreciate it. Share it out with a friend, maybe tag a friend who could use a little bit more effective boundary setting in their own life. And as always, guys, go make it a great day.